All right, let's jump right in. We are about to decode one of the absolute most intense, edge-of-your-seat psychological thrillers ever written by William Shakespeare. We're looking at Julius Caesar, specifically Act 2, Scene 4, and we're going to strip away all that complex Elizabethan vocabulary to reveal the raw, frantic human emotion that is just pulsing underneath the surface.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What does it actually feel like to know a murder is about to happen right now, today, and you are entirely powerless to stop it? This is exactly the agonizing, ticking clock tension that our character, Portia, is experiencing in this very moment. Her husband, Brutus, is off to assassinate Julius Caesar, and she's just left behind waiting.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to use this modern paraphrase as a sort of decoder ring to cut right through the archaic language. It's going to let us see exactly what kind of mental state Portia is in, because, spoiler alert, she is not doing well.
Section 1, The Frantic Morning.
So, the sun is up on the Ides of March, the plot is in motion, and Portia's panic is immediately visible. She yells at her servant Lucius, "I request you, boy, to run to the Senate House. Go at once." And then, literally in the same breath, she berates him, "What, are you standing there?" It shows just how incredibly scattered her mind is right now. She demands he leave instantly, but if you look closely, she hasn't actually given the poor guy any instructions yet.
Poor Lucius is utterly confused. He has to stop and tell her he needs to know his errand, what job he actually has to do. Portia's internal chaos is entirely spilling out into her external actions. She is literally tripping over her own panic here.
Section 2, A Mountain of a Secret. You have to understand, Portia is carrying an unbelievable psychological burden as a co-conspirator by marriage. She knows about this bloody plan, but she has to act completely normal in public. And this leads to a massive emotional outburst. She cries out, "O constancy, be strong upon my side, set a huge mountain between my heart and tongue." It's a beautifully dramatic line for sure, but it represents a terrifying internal battle. She is fighting her own biology, her own desperate urge to just scream the secret out loud.
Think of these specific terms as clues to her mental state. Constancy means strength of purpose, and counsel means secrets. Portia is practically begging the universe to give her the strength of purpose to keep this deadly counsel. She wants a literal physical mountain placed between her heart, which is just pounding with fear, and her tongue, which could ruin the whole shebang with one slipped word.
Now this brilliantly illustrates a fascinating conflict. Portia says, "I have a man's mind, but a woman's might." The modern paraphrase clarifies she's saying her self-control is no greater than a woman's to keep a secret. This is the era's gender roles violently clashing with her immense willpower. She totally respects her own intellect, her man's mind, but she's fighting what she perceives as her physical, biological limitations as a woman in ancient Rome in order to protect Brutus.
And the tension just keeps escalating. Suddenly she stops dead in her tracks. "Hark, boy, what noise is that?" I hear a bustling rumor, like a fray. She is struck by this sudden, intense paranoia. She genuinely imagines she hears violence erupting from the capital where her husband is.
When we break down these terms, bustling rumor means a roar of voices, and a fray is a fight. We can see exactly what terrifying auditory hallucinations Portia's anxiety is projecting. She is literally hearing the assassination happening in her head before it even takes place.
But here is where the psychological thriller aspect absolutely peaks. Portia claims she hears this massive riot in the wind. But Lucius just replies, "Honestly, madam, I hear nothing." It's a stark, chilling contrast. The riot, the roaring voices, the fighting, it is entirely inside Portia's terrified mind.
Section 3, Enter the Soothsayer.
So just as Portia is completely spiraling, a new character arrives on the scene to turn the heat up even further. Portia desperately latches onto the Soothsayer, fishing for information. She wants to know if Caesar has gone to the capital yet, but she has to ask in a way that doesn't reveal she already knows he's going there to die. It's a super delicate, high-stakes conversation.
And then the Soothsayer drops a crucial piece of information. He establishes the time. About the 9th hour, lady. 9 o'clock. This is our literal ticking clock. The assassination is scheduled. The countdown is reaching 0.
Hearing this time, Portia's dread mounts to the point where she takes a massive risk. She asks him directly, "Why, knowest thou any harms intended towards him?" It is such a dangerous question for a secret conspirator to ask, but she physically cannot contain her anxiety anymore.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the Soothsayer's response. He says, "None that I know will be,"
Much that I fear may chance. Basically, he doesn't know for sure, but he fears a great harm will happen. This cryptic answer offers absolutely zero comfort to Portia. In fact, it just validates her worst nightmares.
The soothsayer then excuses himself to find a better spot. He notes the throng of commoners and praetors, meaning a massive crowd and powerful magistrates, are flooding the area. It paints a vivid, really claustrophobic picture of the chaotic scene awaiting Caesar and Brutus at the Capitol.
Section 4. The breaking point.
The soothsayer leaves, and the anxiety finally takes its ultimate physical toll on Portia's body. She realizes she spoke out loud about Brutus having a suit or request for Caesar, and she panics, realizing she almost gave the whole plot away to the boy Lucius. So she is forced to rapidly cover it up.
In an aside, talking only to herself, she says, "Ay me, how weak a thing the heart of woman is. O Brutus, the heavens speed thee in thine enterprise." You can literally feel her utter emotional exhaustion in these words. It's a desperate, terrified prayer for her husband's success.
Just to clarify, she wants the heavens to speed or prosper his enterprise, which is his undertaking, but we know from the context that her enterprise is the dark, looming assassination plot. That's the undertaking that is tearing her apart inside.
The psychological burden literally becomes too much for her biology to handle. She says, "Ugh, I grow faint," or "I am feeling very weak." We're seeing the physical reality of a panic attack right here on the page. The weight of this secret has pushed her right to the edge of total collapse.
So, what does this all mean? The absolute crucial point to take away from this explainer is the sheer human cost of this political conspiracy. As Portia desperately fights fainting, she sends Lucius away with a fake, merry message to her husband, just as the clock strikes 9. She is trapped in agonizing suspense. And that leaves us hanging right on the precipice of incredible historical tension. What exactly will happen when Caesar finally reaches the Capitol? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found decoding this scene as fascinating as I did. See you next time.